Today on the Topping Show, Bud Light folds of honor folds, well, flat on social media. VA tried to ban the iconic World War II sailor kissing picture. MSNBC claims Biden is now smarter, sharper, and better than ever, but gets visually ratioed on social media. Dodge Charger ICE model details revealed. Apple blocks Epic Games from launching their own app, and 6 brands of ground cinnamon are being recalled due to lead contamination. All of that and much, much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button and let your friends know, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the Dodge Charger ICE model. Some of the details are coming to the surface. Now, the downside is this is going to be released after the EV model, which, yeah, EV muscle cars with having speakers blare what used to be a beautiful V8 symphony engine note. I mean, it was a thing of beauty from Dodge back in the day. Yeah, we'll talk about that abomination perhaps another time. Now, going to the internal combustion engine model. Now, the good news is, it looks like they're going to have some coupes, which, interestingly enough, are getting rarer and rarer in fun cars these days. I still can't believe the new Honda Civic, they don't have an option for a two-door. Which, truth be told, I think the Honda Civic Gen 10, granted, I'm a little biased. I love my little Civic Si with the stick shift. Stick shift by default, how all cars should obviously be. But now with the latest generation Honda Civic, there's no such thing as a two-door. It's gone. And more cars are acquiescing because many consumers are having families, they're growing the number of people in the vehicle. Well, they're not growing in terms of growing up in the vehicle. That'd be kind of sad and tragic. They're growing the size of their family more accurately most of the time. So it is getting harder and harder to find coupes. So it looks like they will have a coupe option, as well as the traditional. They'll have the 4-door. Now it's going to be delayed because again they want to get the EV production out, ready to go because all 12 people are really interested in buying it. Kidding, there might be 13 people realistically who want an electric Dodge Charger. Now, it looks like this will be produced in the fourth quarter of 2025, so that's quite a long way away. And of course, the drivetrain, now, granted, it's better than just an EV, so we're getting some gas option. However, it is anemic and boring to say the least for the purists who love American muscle. I say that because Dodge has been known for decades upon decades for making the iconic Hemi engine, especially the V8. I mean, the V8 is great. I was going to say rhyme moderately intended. And now, granted, it's owned by Stellantis, which is the big holding company, like General Motors, but triple the number of brands. And again, Stellantis is headquartered over in Europe. They bought out Fiat. Oh, Fiat actually technically bought out Chrysler as well as Dodge back in the day when they went bankrupt so bad in 2009 they actually had to sell themselves out. Now, that being said, it's all about economies of scale and using the same engine for multiple vehicle platforms, which obviously does decrease cost. So instead of having a good old V8 Hemi engine, they'll now come with a inline 6, which again is great for a BMW. They perfected that platform for decades. It's what the customers expect. It's what they know, they love, they cherish. But if you're going from a V8 to an inline 6, now they say it'll be a 3-liter inline 6, and it will produce either 420 to 550 horsepower, depending on what trim level you get and what specific SKU of model. And they note that it'll be a twin turbo, so it'll make some funny, cool sounds, although I would say normally those sounds are reserved for Japanese imports and crazy, awesome Lamborghini Huracans, though not awesome enough to have 3 pedals. They're automatic these days, which, again, don't get me started. Now, I don't know how, because, again, this is the same drivetrain they're using in multiple of the Stellantis products. They note that the Dodge 6-pack HO, which, interestingly enough, I'm surprised it's not a disclaimer, given how litigious the United States is these days with lawsuits. So it's not a disclaimer saying this won't actually give you a 6-pack. That'd be kind of hilarious and ironic if they actually gave you a coach or a personal trainer. But nevertheless, they know that the Dodge Charger 6-pack HO, known for high output, not for the hose, although some hoes might purchase this vehicle, incidentally enough, they note that it's beefed up for muscle car duty. Now, they note that the Wagoneer produces 510 horsepower and the Ram makes 540 horsepower. The Chargers is boosted up to 550. Dodge has yet to reveal the torque figures for the gas engines, but the Ram's Hurricane engine pumps out 469 foot-pounds of torque in the standard output and 521 out of the high output form. Let's see here. They claim that it's going to produce more horsepower and torque than the old V8s, which, again, still apples to oranges. I mean, you could have just perfected the V8 and made that even more powerful and efficient. Hard to beat a good old Elephant engine, which I think there was an iconic 1,000 horsepower crate engine, which, again, if I was part of that club where I think Jay Leno jokes it's the more money and brains club, how hilarious and entertaining would it be to put a Elephant V8 engine into like a little Honda Civic? It'd be highly entertaining, highly impractical, but a lot of fun. Now they say that's going to have similar styling, but a couple key little trim features that'll make it different. This is kind of funny how they brag about these things. So again, this is originally an article from Car and Driver. Now they note that the Charger 6-pack will feature a similar cabin to that of the Charger Daytona. The interior features a standard 12.3-inch central touchscreen, which, again, a true driving enthusiast doesn't give a damn about touchscreen. They want to actually drive the vehicle and have fun. That's why if you look at the track models of like some of the bigger Porsches and Mustangs, they do like the factory delete of the radio because there's no reason to have the radio on a track. You're listening to the beautiful symphony of the exhaust note, the engine, and you're listening to the vehicle. I mean, truth be told, there's also strip out unnecessary things like AC to decrease the weight of the vehicle. So it's funny, they're talking about, oh yeah, it's a muscle car, it's going to have a 12-inch central touchscreen, which to me thinks, oh great, here's another big thing that'll probably break in a couple years and it'll be hard to replace because electronics are inherently disposable in many cases and even more difficult to find old spare parts. When's the last time someone actually repaired a Samsung S10? Probably never. Mine still is hanging on by a thread. They note that it'll also have a 10.3-inch digital gauge cluster and an option to upgrade to a 16-inch unit. They also note that there's an interior ambient lighting with 64 colors available. Woohoo! 64 colors, you say? I don't know who's worse at marketing. Chrysler, Dodge, and Stellantis, or Car and Driver. They also note, now they do have a retro reference saying they might have a pistol grip gear shifter, though not quite circular heated steering wheel. Now, it would be great. Again, there's no official... the odds are overwhelmingly they'll be automatic only, which is, yet again, an anemic, boring thing to do for a sports car. But if they could have the pistol grip, if they could actually make it have 3 pedals, that's what I'm really hoping for. Because, again, that would be unique, because very few cars these days actually have a manual transmission, though it should be by default. That'd be a very unique value add for the muscle car category. Especially because, again, the Camaro is basically dead. GM and all their infinite wisdom, or not infinite, what's the opposite of wisdom? Foolishness? Mary Barra wants to turn the Camaro into a 2-door EV SUV. Yeah. Now, they say that the gas models will also feature Charger branding on the dashboard. So, actually, it's model year 2025, but it should come out Q4 calendar year 2024. Another fun little weird nuance with car models being named. The year of the model is actually produced prior to that. So it'll be interesting to see. We got some comments. Let's read them because comments are fun. Let's get some other opinions. Peeb79 says, quote, I really like how this isn't a blatant modern copy of a classic previous Challenger was. I think it looks really sharp, but I wonder if it'll be too expensive even if it's base form. The standard output car will need to undercut the Mustang GT to make any sense at all. Unquote. Getting 16 likes. Yeah, that's going to be an issue for them. Although, with economies of scale, they're sharing a lot of the same components that they manufacture in their dozens of other vehicles that they produce. Maybe that will definitely help out decrease the cost. I don't know if they'll be able to beat the Mustang. And it'll also be apples to oranges because the Mustang GT comes with a V8, as all muscle cars should, I would argue, by default, and a good old stick shift, which, again, I think it's fair to say that the Mustang did win the Pony War. They also never subsequently stopped production of the Mustang throughout their entire history, where Dodge, as well as General Motors with Chevrolet, they've had times where they paused or even stopped production of their muscle cars throughout the years. EK383, a name as uninspiring as a BMW model trim, but nevertheless, EK383 says, quote, I'm a big fan of the sound inside and out of a straight 6 powered rides with aftermarket or aggressive factory exhaust system, unquote, getting 12 likes. I don't know what this person is thinking. Nevertheless, 301 Blackout says, quote, I'm disappointed the V8s are no longer part of the Charger lineup, but otherwise Dodge nailed it. On paper, it's a lot better than the old Charger, and they still offer the gas option for those not interested in EV Charger. I also like that they offer 2-door and 4-door versions. My only concern is that there's no longer a cheaper, lower spec base model offered. I guess Dodge intends to, on this being an all-out performance vehicle instead of being a rental fleet favorite, though there may be some hope for Dodge after all. Unquote, getting 5 likes, which, yeah, that's another issue. One of the best things about the previous Dodge portfolio is that they had one of the greatest price point diversities, bar none. I think one of the Challengers actually started like 26 grand for like the little small anemic V6 engine with, very bare bones. And we went up to over $100,000 for the Demon Hellcat XY Banana Falcon, whatever the trim level is actually called, which had basically it was technically street legal tires, but they were basically race slicks built for the drag, 700 plus horsepower. I mean, from an engineering and offering perspective, that is pretty cool to offer that many options to the consumers, because again, then you can capture multiple points of the market, from people who are first trying to get their first vehicle all the way up to big gearhead enthusiasts who want the most horsepower you could possibly cram into one of those vehicles. So I definitely think, and we're seeing this with a lot of automotive brands, is they're consolidating how many offerings they have. And unfortunately, it does sound like this is going to be very few in terms of the number of SKUs and different trim levels that you can order. So that definitely is a concern. Now, the Mustang also has the market beaten. Now, controversially enough, they do offer, I believe, an inline 4 and a V6 options for the Mustang, which, be moderately interesting. It's kind of hilarious to have an inline 4 with a Mustang, just based on the old heritage of the vehicle. But if that's an aggressively low enough price point, it might be entertaining, a good way to get someone into the brand, and they work up, and then eventually they spend a little more money, and they buy the higher trim levels, and they build that brand relationship and the brand enthusiasm for Ford. Do one or two more comments here. You have Optimus Prime says, quote, I really like this, but unfortunately, this is going to cost. They don't seem keen on a Turbo 4 yet. Quote, they may be forced at some point, but if they offer a variant other than the Turbo 6 with 370 horsepower under 40K, they might be onto something. I'm cooking 6 likes, 1 downvote. Staka8071 says, quote, I feel like a broken record at this point, but if they offer a manual, it'd be the only over 300 horsepower all-wheel drive car with manual other than the Porsche 911 C4S/C4 GTS. It would sell like hotcakes in the Midwest, unquote, getting 15 likes and 3 downvotes. And yes, that would be a very unique value prompt, especially because, Subaru used to be iconic with their stick shift with the WRX XTI, which, of course, in their infinite, what's the opposite of wisdom? Foolishness, they killed that iconic piece of engineering, which to me, that is the Subaru brand. I know they have many vehicles that are also iconic, but to me, that was also one of the pinnacle performance vehicles they manufactured throughout the years. You also have Sylvie saying, quote, real Dodge fans remember the Slant 6 and Charger doesn't need a Hemi to be good, unquote. Controversial to say the least, that statement. It actually had 12 likes and 2 downvotes. See here. Do one or two more. Let's see. JT656 says, smart move. The EV is a failure. Not enough range combined with the nation's infrastructure, which is not ready for prime time. Of course, I prefer a turbo 6.4, but at least the HO version will offer similar power to a naturally aspirated 6.4 without the fear range of an EV. I love that they added all-wheel drive for the 7 likes, 1 downlike, which, again, all-wheel drive, especially in the Midwest, is a big value prompt. It'll be interesting to see how well this... let me know in the comments, what do you think is the ratio going to be in terms of... on this video, another friendly reminder to like it, although it might get ratioed in terms of more down votes than up votes. Although some people say there's no such thing as bad marketing. Bud Light would definitely beg to differ, but... in all, getting back to the actual point, what do you think the ratio will be in terms of the number of internal combustion engine chargers sold versus EVs? Is it going to be as crazy as a 4-to-1? So for every 4 internal combustion engine chargers are sold, they sell 1 EV? Do you think it'll be about the same, or do you think they actually might sell more EVs than the actual ICE engine model? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Sharing it also does help with the manageable YouTube algorithms. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.